So in this episode, I'm going to be working on the drawer boxes. That's going to include cutting the mortises to assemble the drawers. Also, the front panels of the drawers. Let's get started. So these will be pretty straightforward. I've marked all the appropriate faces on my drawer boxes. I'm going to utilize the 2 flaps. So all the mortises are going to be 37 millimeters from the edge. I've gone ahead and changed the cutter back to a 5 millimeter cutter. So we'll use the 5x30 tenons. I've set my fence height and my depth to the appropriate depths. And I'm going to go ahead and start using the Vaxis just to speed up the process. So with all the mortises cut, we can go ahead and dry fit with the bottom panels and see how they fit. So now that I got the dry fit done, everything looks good, I can go ahead and put some glue on it, throw it in some clamps. Next thing we're going to move on to is creating the drawer front panels. I've got a finished panel here, installed the hardware, got a round over edge, everything's sanded. So with all my parts pre-cut, I can get into assembling the second panel. So there's a couple different ways we can build the panel for this drawer front. We could use a tongue and groove bit on a router. We can use a dado blade on a table saw. The best way, the most efficient way I've found is just by using our MFK 700 along with the edge guide to make the 6 millimeter groove to accept the panel. So with the center line marked on my board, got the center line marked on the base of my router, then I can just turn the micro adjust dial to get it perfectly lined up, tighten things down, put the base back on the router. On our panel, the stiles are going to have a stop dado because I don't want to see that groove going all the way through on the finished product. So I've gone ahead and I've marked out the center of where my bit wants to be when I stop, and I've also marked out the edge of my router base at that point. So that way I know where to start the router and stop the router. With the stop dados done, I can go ahead and run the rails all the way through. So with the dados done, we can move on to the dominoing and then assembly. I went ahead and laid the frame out exactly how it's going to go. I'll go ahead and label it so I know which sides go with which. And that also tells me which side is going to face up when I'm doing the dominoes. And for these, I laid out the dado so that I can utilize the 20 millimeter flaps on my support base, and it's not going to interfere with the dado that I already put in the material. For these longer pieces, since I'm going into this face rather than the end, I'm going to go ahead and clamp these down. So now I've got all of the one side done, I can change the flaps and do the other side. By using the 20 millimeter flaps, I've got good placement on my mortise and it's not interfering with the dado. So with all the mortises done, I can go ahead and do my dry fit and make sure everything fits correctly. With the dry fit looking good, I can go ahead and pop it apart, glue it up, put it in clamps, and then I'll walk through the process of attaching it to the drawer itself. Now I can go ahead and install the drawer slides. I've simplified it for myself. I just cut a spacer block, put that on the bottom of the cabinet, put my drawer slide in there, pre-drill, run my screws, take it out, do it on this other side. Then they're exactly the same height off the bottom of the cabinet. So now I can go ahead and install the runners on the side of the drawer, which I'm just going to have them flush with the bottom of the drawer. Gone ahead and pulled the panel out of the clamps, did some light sanding, laid out where my drawer is going to be so it matches this one exactly. There's a lot of different ways you can attach a panel. The way I typically do it on this one, because it's going to be painted, is I'm just going to hold it up in place, use my headless pinner, just put 2 pins in it, then I can pull it out and attach it permanently. So for locations marked for my drawer pull, I can go ahead and drill the holes and attach it to the drawer front. With that complete, now it's just a matter of joining the upper and lower cabinet. To continue the build, click here or check this out, and don't forget to subscribe.